Sometimes this weird thing happens to us. We get triggered, we get offended, our butt starts to hurt a little bit. There's actually so many misconceptions about this out there. Eating out at our life quality, taking energy from us, that I thought that we have to really figure this out. Many people out there, they deny it even in themselves. They laugh at it, they see it as some form of stupid form of being. Yet other people, they choose their life based on whether they get offended or not. They choose where to see it, what to do, what to work with, who to talk to and who to not to talk to based on whether they get offended or not. It's such a common thing that we need a stable framework to be able to deal with it when it happens. So to start off, just think back to a situation where you or someone you know got really triggered. Just go back to the situation, picture it, hear it, who it was with, in what situation, in what location. Just really get back into the situation. This will really help your understanding as we go along. Just take 10 seconds and just picture this situation. Alright, so at the heart of what's happening is that you go into a situation with a set of subconscious expectations of what should be happening, in what way should it be happening, and then the reality hits you with something else. Something completely different happens. This thing that happens, it clashes with your inner model, your inner expectation model that you had beforehand. We actually call this model the core beliefs. It's the set of your core beliefs that clashes with the actual reality. That's it. That's the main part of being triggered. The reality hits you with something unexpected, something that you judge to be wrong, or something that you see that should not be or cannot be happening. Now, after that, you can of course feel certain emotions, you can start certain reactions start in your body, you even may start certain patterns of thought, you start judging things in a certain way, but it all initiated here. You have certain expectations and they crash with something that's actually happening. So what do we really mean by these core beliefs thing? What does the reality actually crash into? They are a set of beliefs that exist deep inside you about your life, about yourself, about the world, about your role in it. Very often these beliefs, they can be subconscious. That's why sometimes you don't even know which ones you have and which ones are active or not. Basically, core beliefs form a very deep structure that exists inside yourself through which you perceive your reality. It's the structure that actually forms the reality that you interact with. But they are actually not formed with your thoughts. The thoughts is just a surface component. It's just like, waves on the surface of the ocean. Thoughts only exist for maybe a couple of seconds at a time. This structure actually exists much deeper inside your psyche. It's something that affects your psychology, your behavior, your feelings, your emotions, and so on. So, they can be kind of tricky to find sometimes. But if you actually look in your behavior, if you actually analyze it, you will see that there are actually certain core beliefs that you have. It's not something abstract or philosophical, it's an actual structure that governs your behavior. If you get triggered, you don't actually get triggered onto random things. It's actually a very specific thing. If you have a core belief that says that that being rude is wrong, then you will always get some reaction when someone behaves rudely. Now it might be yourself, it might be someone in your job, just someone you see on the street or your friend, or sometimes even you watch a movie and someone behaves rudely, it will activate. But the element of rudeness kind of has to be there. It doesn't necessarily activate if someone is behaving stupidly or selfishly or aggressively towards someone. But if they're kind of rude while they do it, then it actually activates. And on top of that, you can't either forget to be triggered. It's not a logical thing, it's something that happens automatically. There can of course be cases where you have one core belief that reacts to rudeness, and another to aggressiveness, and another to stupidity. And then you can of course they get activated in different situations, but it's still not random. It still doesn't just activate for no reason and destroy your life for no reason. So if you actually dig deeper and if you find any of these core beliefs, they will usually be these kind of simple statements about the world. Our subconscious is actually a very efficient machine. It doesn't form these beliefs, it doesn't form them in such a way that you have to, write a 10-page philosophy essay just to explain them. They will usually be very simple statements like, it's bad to lie, or I'm a bad person if I don't help other people, or that person should be ashamed for doing this, or like I have to be working towards my goals. Maybe even something like if I have a 9-to-5 job, it means I'm wasting my life. It was something kind of simple. Usually these things are formed in childhood, either by maybe watching your parents in certain situations or just certain situations happening to you and you not knowing how to respond to them, but they can really form in any stages of your life. And of course, consequently, you can also change them and work on them at any stage of your life. Now again, you might have your logical thoughts that you are a much complicated being, that you are very smart and you don't operate in such simple ways, that you have studied psychology and you know which neurotransmitters your brain runs on. But don't be fooled by that. Actually look in your behavior, actually look at what governs, what rules are in your behavior. If you have certain emotions that get activated time after time after time, then it means there is a part of you that is actually kind of simple. In a way, you can think of your core beliefs as the inner model that your body has for when it thinks that it's okay to send loving energy towards itself and when it thinks that it should be sending something else. By loving energy, I mean that your body can feel at ease, that it feel complete, it feel open, it can feel meaning, it can feel gratefulness towards everything. What conditions need to be met for it to think that it's okay to do that, and what conditions it kind of looks for, it thinks that they mean that there's something wrong and then it has to be feeling something else. So if you have a core belief that says that you have to be productive all the time, it means that when you are productive, you kind of feel at ease. You are filled with this loving energy. If you ever think that you are not as productive as you could be, or maybe you just even see someone who's slacking in a movie, kind of like something activates and you stop this flow of loving energy which exists in your body. Now, of course, this means that your body has a kind of misconception, because the ultimate enlightened reality is that you can send loving energy towards yourself at any time, whatever happens, whatever you're doing. And in fact, if you do that, that will mean the best possible life for you. You will have a lot of energy, you will be able to do the things you want, it will work out in the best possible way, for you, but also for people around you, for your friends, for your family, even for your career. And this is what we are actually doing, that's what we're learning here. We're teaching your body how to generate this loving energy, which it is the only generator and source of. We're teaching it how to generate it better. But luckily, there is actually already a part of you that already wants to develop your core beliefs and make them generating more energy for you. And it's actually the exact same part that gets triggered. See, when you get triggered, it's more like a signal. There is a signal that's coming to you that you can feel in your body, in your feelings, in your psyche, that says, hey, I found a core belief where there's something wrong with it. I found a place where we can develop our core beliefs. I might not know what exactly it is, but here's a situation, here's something happens, and somewhere in here there's a core belief that we can expand, that we can make better. Actually, if you understand anything from this video, is that this signal isn't actually saying anything bad about you. It doesn't say that you are a bad human being. It doesn't even say that the situation is bad. It doesn't actually say anything about the situation itself at all. It says something about your core beliefs, about your inner structure. This signal is actually saying, hey, I found a place in our own source code which we can change, which we can develop, which we can make better. And if we do that, we'll get much more energy, we'll get much more love, our life will be much better. And this is actually the nature of triggering situations. They help you. They shouldn't be avoided. If anything, you should be striving towards more triggering situations. If there's something you want your core beliefs to be, is that you want to be them accurate with your actual reality. You want your beliefs to reflect the reality that is actually outside you. If your beliefs are correct with reality, your life will be easy, it will be full of joy, everything will just go your way. Whereas if your core beliefs are contradicting reality, it means that they will fight every time that something happens, and it will just mean that you will be limiting yourself from the reality that exists there for you. You see, the ultimate reality is that the universe has given you everything you need. You can be in the state of love and joy, and you can use your resources in the best way possible already. Everything is already perfect in that sense. But you want your inner beliefs to reflect that. Because if they don't, that means that you are not using the resources that are out there. For example, if you drive a car, if you have a good proper understanding of how the car works, it will be easy to drive it. But instead, imagine if you think that pushing the gas pedal means that you're a bad person and that you will be punished. And then you develop some fear around that. And then on top of fear, you develop a feeling of shame for having the fear. And then you develop some phobias about pushing the gas pedal. And then every time you have to push a gas pedal, or every time you think about it, you get triggered. You get this reaction of triggering in your body. It will be much harder to drive it. You will still get to certain places because you will still be able to drive it somewhat quickly if you really need to get somewhere, but it will not be optimal. Now, one specific common misconception that people have is that it's other people in their environment that trigger them. It's so easy to think when some person does something to see them as a living entity and start thinking, oh, if they did this thing, it means they meant it, it means that it was directed at me. Now, of course, if you look from the point of view of core beliefs, this person might actually not even have the same core beliefs that you have. In their model of reality, this thing might actually not even be bad. So when they do it, they don't actually expect anyone to get triggered. That's one possibility that happens often. But yet these other times, especially if you have really good friends or people who are very socially acute and who are not afraid to come into some conflicts, you will see that they will actually trigger you almost sort of consciously. But you see, it's not actually evil at all, it's actually kind of helping you. You have this part that we talked about that tries to find these certain situations where it will see that there's some source code that needs to be changed. Your friends actually play into that. They see that you have a part that tries to look for these things, and they just kind of help it. They get into this game because they see that you're playing this game, even subconsciously, and they get into the same game. Because we've already established what this part is doing. It's trying to expand your core beliefs in the best possible way by finding these pressure points. And this is what your friends are doing. This game is it's much easier to play together with other people even, because it's much easier to see sometimes where the trigger points for other people are than to see them yourself. So many times when you think that your friend is a jerk for pointing something out or saying something in a certain way, they aren't actually jerks, they helping you. For certain people, if they're actually very acute with this, it actually hurts them not to help. They kind of look at you and they see there's this gaping hole in your core beliefs, something that is obviously wrong. It's like a hole in the ship, and they see the water is pouring in all the time, and you have to spend half of your energy that you get each day just getting the water out, just dealing with all your emotions that get accumulated when this water comes in. It hurts them not to help. Alright, so there's of course much more to say about core beliefs and how they are formed and how they affect your reality and how specifically to change them. But this was just a little bit of information about how they relate to triggering. This should already be quite good information for you if you want to find your core beliefs and actually work on them. Anyway, I hope you get some good triggerings this week and it will be amazing. And I'll see you guys next time.